What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Pugilism, aka MKO Boxing, where we talk all things box. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. The second sort of main event that was watched early hours of this morning was, of course, Zurdo Ramirez versus David Benavidez. This was David Benavidez' first venture up to cruiserweight, new weight division for him, coming from light heavy, super middle. Zurdo also done the same transition, but before Zurdo Ramirez at this point, going into this fight, he'd had about 4 fights at the cruiserweight limit, so more established. And of the two, he was bang on 200-pound limit, so he was like right at the cruiserweight limit, good weight. Benavidez, bit lighter, 196 going into this fight. So he was clearly the smaller man, was Benavidez coming into this, shorter man. But he really did make short work of Zurdo Ramirez. This was a one-sided demolition, a one-sided beatdown. Just wow, it was really impressive because going into this, I thought, and don't get me wrong, I knew of the hand speed, punch power of David Benavidez, but I just thought Zurdo Ramirez would have the boxing skill and boxing IQ to sort of at least be able to outbox David Benavidez and sort of stay out of his way, stay box on the back foot with him. Don't give him the toe to toe scrap that he wants. But Zurdo Ramirez, for whatever reason, he decided to approach this fight in a different manner. He approached this fight in a mano a mano, very macho way, and he sort of met David Benavidez head on from the first bell, and this was a battle. He wasn't really um, giving up much ground to begin with. And so that meant Benavidez's speed and the hand speed of David Benavidez was just, it was phenomenal. The way and the engine, he didn't lose anything by going up those 25 pounds to cruiser. He still carried that hand speed, and the problem from the very beginning was that he was just too fast and just threw far too many punches for Zurdo. And with Zurdo, I think what he would have needed to do is to kind of back away from Benavidez, and he would have to try to sort of make a miss and try to outbox him on the back foot. I think that's probably what would have given him a better chance of winning, or probably would have allowed him to last longer. But I don't know whether it would have allowed him to win the fight. But yeah, he was on front foot, both of them centering. But Benavidez was just much faster, and the volume, and the guy is able to sort of reel off like 5 and 6 punch combinations just like that. Bah, 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 just reel off the combinations and the angles at which Benavidez was throwing. Zurdo just didn't know what was coming next. It kind of reminded me in some ways of how Manny Pacquiao destroyed Oscar De La Hoya when he thought he could still make welterweight and he was drained. And Manny Pacquiao's southpaw started the punches coming from all these angles, and De La Hoya's just not knowing where they're coming from. And it was not quite as bad as that, but it was close because you'd have moments where, okay, Ramirez lands a few shots, but then as he's trying to land a few shots, out comes David Benavidez reeling off, blah, 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 reeling off uppercuts, hooks, and they're coming from the left, they're coming from the right, it's like a rainstorm or something, just raining punches in on him constantly. It was just amazing, quite a brilliant display. I mean, some have even said this was like a heavy bag, basically. This what he does in a heavy bag is what he'd done to Ramirez, and you had the fourth round where it all kind of fell apart for Ramirez, and he just couldn't handle it. He again took a barrage of shots, too fast, too furious, just all angles, and the eye busted up as well, and basically he just took a knee there in the fourth and couldn't handle it. Yes, part of it was the punch, and but you could tell that him going down was as much voluntary as it was the punch. Is he just couldn't handle it, and the pain in the eye was busted and closed, and you know it goes on. And to his credit, he gets to his feet, survives that knockdown, survives the fifth, but he's still getting beaten up, with all these combinations from all these angles. Then comes the penultimate round, the sixth round, where the fight all ends. And again, it's the same story of, Zurdo sort of trying, but then as he's on the front foot, he's in punching range of David Benavidez, and Benavidez just reeling him off, boom, 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 hooks and everything, all angles. And the thing with Benavidez is that he's not just a powerful puncher, he's not just a fast punch. It's the variety of punches he throws, and it's the fact with him that he can kind of, at some points in a fight, he can kind of even use arm punches to distract you. Throw a big shot to come in, he can get in range, then he'll throw little arm punches, then he'll vary the power, then he'll throw something powerful, and he mixes and matches with his punches. And the sheer variety of his punches is just, brilliant. And it makes it, if you're there, if you're right there in front of him, if you're not giving him movement, if you're within punching range, he just eats you up, just destroys you. That's why he's called the monster. So yeah, Ramirez could take no more. The eye was just destroyed, and he just stayed on that knee, and that was it. The ref just had to wave it off. So yeah, superb performance by David Benavidez. It all went his way. He was able to do exactly what he wanted. I mean, to be fair, it was basically just as one-sided as the Anthony Yarde fight. Only difference was Yarde was sort of backing away from him from the beginning. But this was pretty much just as one-sided, just a complete domination by him. And now it's all we can do now, talk about what's next. He mentioned Canelo's name, and I'm telling you now, no disrespect to Canelo, but Canelo he's not going to take that on. He's not taking that fight. And I wouldn't blame him, because he's kind of a smaller guy. He's not really big enough for light heavyweight Canelo. He's done it just to try it, but we saw what happened. Bivol just beat him, and the old Sergey Kovalev, you give him that. But yeah, so Canelo not going to happen. I think Canelo's going to play with something safe instead. You got other guys like Bivol. I think that's the fight really that should be going on. That's a good fight. And I think Jai Opetaia as well is another fight that I would love to see. I'd love to see both of them really. And you've also got Artur Beterbiev out there. But much like some others have said, I think with Beterbiev, he's right in the twilight of his career. He's not been fighting recently. I can't remember, he's probably not been in action in close to 2 years or something, maybe at least a year or so he's been out of the ring, I think, Beterbiev. So he'll, you may even probably favor Benavidez in that one. Just obviously, not only he's been out of the ring, the age as well, and the rust, and Benavidez would be maybe even too much there. But yeah, for me, I'd say next now, what I want to see is either, if he's at cruiserweight, then I'd say let's have Opetaia. However, I don't know how that will work with Zuffa, but yeah, I think that should be the next one, cruiser. Otherwise, light heavyweight, for me, I'd want to see him in there with Dmitry Bivol. I would. It's funny though, because of the style of Beterbiev, I'd be happy to see him in there with Beterbiev as well. But it's one of them. I think the age will probably catch up to Beterbiev. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Until next time, MK Boxing, over and out.